So, we'll be listening to these details from Dİaz, Dave and Deborah from Planet D and Anton from Awesome Planet with the moderation of Mr. Afshin on the stage. Dave and Deborah and Anton, please.
Hi guys, how are you doing, man?
Hi.
You want to sit to?
How are we? Hi, everybody.
Hello.
You have a lot of fun over there.
Everyone's awake now after
Yeah,
that.
exactly.
Yes. Cool. How are you?
Very
How's
good.
the event
Excellent.
going?
Happy to be back in Istanbul. I
Definitely.
love it here.
Cool. I think monetizing blogs, I think this is one of the most, let's say, wondered sessions in this event because we have monetization word in here in the session. I think this is the most important part of the whole blogging or creating content, I guess. I have a couple of questions prepared for you, but if anyone from our audience wants to add a question, just tell us and I can ask your questions as well. And also, if you want to add something, please feel free to add. So, let's start with you. The basic question in my mind, actually, is it easy to monetize a blog?
Well, once you establish your credibility and your presence, it is quite easy to monetize a blog. But you do have a lot of work beforehand to build your readership and your following and your audience. But once you actually have that credibility, then people will start coming to you. People want to use your blog to bridge the gap between brands and the consumer, and that's where blogs and influencers and social media all comes in.
Yeah, I think it's definitely much easier now than it was when we all started. When we all started, nobody really knew what to do with us or anything, but nowadays, more brands and destinations are taking notice of the power of an influencer and what they can do to help them reach their customers. So from us, and also as affiliate marketing, you know, there's so many different ways that you can monetize your blog nowadays as opposed to when we started. So I think it's a great time to get into it.
Yeah, especially 2017. So I'm based in the social media capital of the world in Manila, Philippines. And before, you have to talk to the brands, you know, pitching all these things. But now, there's no talk about that. It's more about, you know, what we can do collaboratively together this 2017. So it's easier now.
Okay. It's a good answer to hear, actually, at least a motivating answer. I personally started blogging like in 2005, I guess, as I remember. I remember those days as well. But there is another thing. There is also a competition right now. I mean, isn't there? I mean, you say that right now it's easier to monetize because there are, much more brands, much more corporations who are willing to pay for it or use your content to market their own services and products. But at the same time, the amount of bloggers, the amount of content creators are increasing tremendously. So isn't there a competition for this as well? I mean, how this affects the monetization?
Yeah, let me start. I think we all believe that we're now in a digital age, right? So everybody will be in this space at some point. And we're just leading it for a while, but everybody will be there. Now, the question is really more on quality collaborations with the brands. And like, for example, for us, we have 4 boys, and their age is 12, 9, 7, and 2. So we travel as a family. And I guess that story resonates with some brands. Maybe the brands you work with won't resonate with that as well. So it's really more of working with brands collaboratively and sharing the story, your personal story, the brand story, and where that meet in the middle.
And I also think, having more people come into the space is actually a good thing because it makes everybody else sort of step up their game and become more creative. I think as content creators, we're always striving to be more creative and think of different ideas on how you can work together and what you can do with your content. So by having more and more people come into the space, it forces you to actually do something where you have to stand out. You have to set yourself apart from other people in order to be successful. And yes, that may be a little bit more difficult nowadays, but it forces us to tap our creativity a little bit more.
Cool. You mentioned about the collaboration with brands. This is one important topic as well. I think it's really important to have, let's say, a harmony with the brand. I mean, the collaboration should be smooth and also efficient. What do you want to add for it? Because this is one of the questions that I'm hearing from most of the influencers, because this market, the influencer marketing or including blogs or other mediums, this is very new. So there is no standard for that. So there are no rules for this. And the most important part is the work with the brands, actually, for you guys. So what is the most, let's say, significant or crucial rules or pathways to work with the brands? How can you, I mean, what do you want to add for this?
I think it's really important that you have to work with companies you believe in. You have to make sure that they have the same core values, that you have used the brand before or use it, or at least have experienced it. A lot of people come to us and want to work together that don't fit at all. Like we'd have somebody say, we have a great family product, and then we have to also as the influencers say, no, that won't work for us. We need to do our research back and forth. And then it's much easier to keep an authentic voice that way. I have no problem promoting a company if I believe in it and if it works for what my niche is. So I think that's really important on both sides, that brands do their research and the influencers do their research.
We have, I guess, a lot of brands in this room, no?
Yeah.
Like, so there are two ways really to work with us. The first way, which most people would do, is, we'll commission you to do a blog post or to do some photos or to do videos. That was the, what people usually do. When we approach with brand, I talk to them and say, can you give us a creative brief? Like a short one-pager on what you want to do, what the brand's about, what your objective. And then we go back, here's what we can do for you. So we're like a mini creative agency in a sense. I know you guys operate that way as well. And then are the things we can do, because it will be really hard for the brand to understand, like for us, we've been in this game for how many years, to understand what we can do. So I think for me, that's the best way, and that's the trend moving forward.
Yeah,
as well.
it's really important to have that back and forth.
I think that you can look at it on a short-term basis or a longer-term basis. I know we've done destination campaigns and brand campaigns on a smaller scale, where we work with someone on a product launch or something that says something smaller, or on a longer-term basis. And if you're looking to work with an influencer on a longer-term basis, then obviously you can utilize them in different spaces. So when you're thinking about a collaboration, don't just think about maybe just a post or an Instagram or anything, or a video, but think about how else you can use them. Can you use them on television? Can you use them at speaking events? Can you use them in different mediums, so that when you come together in a larger collaboration, that basically that person is out there representing your brand or your destination on multiple platforms. So of course, I mean, the cost involved and everything with that is a lot larger than doing a smaller campaign, but I think that the impact can be a lot more significant by having that consistent message that's put across, over a year or 2 years or 5 years or whatever it may be.
Well, just to add to that, we stopped now doing, point in time campaigns, meaning, it's a launch event, we cover that. We stopped doing that because we like to do timeless content that you could watch forever, because the online space is forever, Like we have some content that's how many years ago, it's still relevant up to this day, especially videos or blog posts. Yeah.
So the brands, I think, should make their research very well before start working with you, right? They do their homework.
Yeah, they should do their homework, and then they should reach out and talk and discuss. Like we have a lot of brands that'll say, how can we work together? What would work best for you? We want to promote this certain campaign or destination, and then we always work very closely with putting together the itinerary, with putting together what we're going to give them. Are they asking for video? Do they want are they going to focus on Twitter? Some people are very big on Twitter, where other people are very big on Facebook, and then other people are huge on Instagram. So you really need to talk and discuss and collaborate what their focus is and their objective is, and how you can work into that.
And just to add to that, the brands need to realize we have a lot of friends also. If we can bring them along, in the campaign, why not? I mean, I think, and that's really the power of really working with influencers like us.
So I just wanted, and I do think it's key to work with the right influencer, and I think that's a message that I want to drive home, is that by doing your research and understanding what their market is and who their audience is, it'll allow you to find out who the right person is for you to work with, instead of just looking at how many followers they have or what kind of influence they have over, suppose they have influence over, 14 to 18-year-olds, and you're a luxury travel product. Why would you work with that person just because they have a ton of numbers? You're going to reach the wrong audience. So it's very important to do your research and find out who the audience of the influencer is, and if it matches up with your target market.
So I think this is a very important topic, and I guess that we will be speaking about this all through the day, because this is something that I want to emphasize as well. So the brands shouldn't see the influencers just as medium or just an account, right? But treat like a partner for their marketing purpose.
Yes, exactly.
Right.
Yes, I think that the most successful campaigns we've had, it's when we really work together with each other to come up with the same objectives and interact. There's so many times when we work with brands and the companies that really interact back and forth and have that dialogue online, that really is always the most successful, because people, your followers are watching, their followers are watching and going, wow, they really have a great rapport, and they really are enjoying the destination or the product that they're using.
And usually, the best way to work with us, let's be friends. It starts with the handshake today. Maybe we don't have a project this year. It will be down the line, because it's really a relationship. And we were talking about this. Once you meet somebody offline, like in this event, the online interaction becomes more meaningful because you have context, and then you don't know later on. You'll have a business together, and that's really fun.
I guess you're probably active in more than one mediums, apart from the blog. How do these different mediums relate together? I mean, using blogs at the same time, but then Facebook and also Instagram, sometimes YouTube. I mean, all of them have different types of audience, I guess. How do you relate these different kind of mediums together? For instance, for your campaigns as well with brands, or just creating and publishing content?
Yes.
I think it's most important. I think that we have a lot of success, all of us up here, because we're very diversified. Dave was talking today about how you can't just focus on one. So if you have a campaign across all boards, we have people that follow us on Facebook that don't even ever look at our blog, or follow us on Instagram that don't know the first thing about our YouTube channel. So we're constantly reaching not only a different audience on each channel, but we're also exciting people with a whole different medium and having all those different longevity. Like a YouTube video will last forever and get people excited, the visuals. So I find, the blog is our core, is our meat. That's where everything lives, and that's where the whole campaign can be found. But the others are very important to have it throughout the channels.
Yeah, for us, we actually do multi-generational targeting. So we learn the Gen X generation loves the blog. They read the blog, and then they like email. So if we have a Gen X campaign, we make sure that we blog and do an email. For the millennials, we target them through Instagram, and we've more or less mastered now Facebook video. We do like a 1-minute Facebook video or a 3-minute Facebook video to target the millennials. And my project this year is we're targeting Gen Z. So I have 4 boys. I told them, you'll have a summer internship in our awesome planet. So we're doing video, because their generation is more on YouTube. And in YouTube, you need to have like 10 to 15-minute video for those video to work in those YouTube channels. So we do. And then once you have that, when you work with brands, we have to talk about what's the hero content. So for us, sometimes our hero content is always video. We lead with video, and then it goes out to all the other channels. Sometimes it's a blog post, and it leads to other channels.
Cool. A question about, again, very related to monetization. There are lots of influencers started this job very new or maybe has like a couple of years experience. One of the important topic is to increasing the value of their content when they are talking, discussing with the brands. What do you suggest to those people, those bloggers, influencers, to increase their value? Because at the end of the day, they sit on the table and they negotiate on some terms, on some budget, most of the time, maybe. What do you suggest to influencers to increase this value of their content when they're against brands?
It's a lot that we work with is in assets, and I think
Yeah,
you were
no.
about to talk about that. No, I'm being the wife and going into
No,
offense.
go,
You start.
Karen. Yeah, I think, obviously being able to offer different things. So like assets and going after marketing budgets and gearing more towards that, there's obviously a bigger pool to draw from as an influencer. So by offering assets like creating video content for the brand or the destination, or offer licensing them photos and things like that, where they can draw from different budgets. Eventually, people are still starting to get social media budgets and stuff like that, but those are obviously a lot smaller than a marketing budget. So if you can appeal to the marketing arm of a brand or a destination, you have a lot better chance of being able to obviously increase your worth and increase your value towards the brand or the destination.
Yeah, for us, what we do is most people would charge per content element, and it becomes a very difficult discussion. You see, this number of Instagram posts equals this amount of dollars or this video. So what we do now is do a video campaign price with all these elements. So it's one price, including the branding, our story, so that it becomes a question of, the brand wants to work with you because of your story. And then of course, you need to deliver all these other content assets.
And that's something you want to give the brand proof, social proof. You need to show them
Yeah.
that you are valuable. And I know that all of us up here work with brands because they do get something out of it. We have things where we offer a trackable link or discount codes, and then brands can actually go. I know we work with Quark Expeditions, who sells $15,000 trips, and they say that we're one of their biggest, people use our discount code of just 5% all the time, but that's an easy way for them to track who came from the planet D. So you want to really show that you can provide value. It's really hard with just an Instagram photo with a bunch of likes to say, is that going to compel people to go to the destination? But if you have the trackable link in your profile, then they can actually start seeing, well, how many people actually click to find out more about coming to Istanbul? So think about ways like that the brand can easily track, because help make their life easier. It's hard.
And you as an influencer, I think that's part of your job, is that you can go out there and you can collect this data, because it's easiest for you because you're looking from the back end out, right? You have all that information. So if you don't, when you're first starting out, if you go on your first free trip or something like that, then collect that data and look at it as an investment in your future, and that you can say, okay, I reached this many people in this target market, and I motivated them to purchase this trip or that trip, and you can use that as a case study. I think case studies are one of the biggest things that a blogger or influencer can have to show a brand or destination your value and your worth.
On the other hand, for the brands, it's not easy to evaluate the value in terms of budget-wise of the influencer. What do you suggest to the brands in terms of, let's say, defining the budgets or shaping the budget? Because again, as we told, there's no standard for it, there's no rate card for it. So the brands also don't know how to price it. So what do you suggest to them?
Well, I would love it if somebody, they always have a marketing budget of some kind.
Yeah.
So I would love it if somebody came and said, I have X amount of dollars, what can you do for this? We've been getting that a lot lately where people, they may not be able to reach our full value package, but we can go piecemeal then. If somebody says, I have $5,000, what can you do for that? Something like that. So that's where, if they don't have a lot of budget, you can still reach out to the larger influencers and say, what can you do? And that can actually start helping you decide what you can afford. And then you can go, okay, if they can give me a post and some social media from that, then I can move forward and get a standard. I know it's difficult. People are always saying to us, what kind of budget do we have? And we can come with a full package of something huge, or we can start small.
Yeah, I think because before I was blogging, I was with Procter & Gamble 12 years ago, and they have a lot of budgets. Definitely, the budgets are there, but it's really more of a question on how to work with us. And when you look at us, you don't look at us as a one-time thing. The digital age will be here for the next 20 years. Our collaboration will be forever. So I think it's very important to start with something. Just a collaboration, whether it's a trip somewhere or maybe just an online collab, just somewhere, just to have that handshake, have that building that relationship, and for sure down the line that will be even bigger.
Yeah. And something else that people are doing too is they know what they want. They know they want a video created. They know that they want to have an X amount of Instagram photos. People might just come to us and say, hey, how much would you charge for this campaign? This is our target. Because we all know our value. We've been doing this now for nearly 10 years, so we know what we're worth, so we can easily come back to them if they have a clear picture, like Anton was saying, of what they want out of the campaign.
Now, it's now easier actually with video, because you think about, when I go now, I pitch video because you have a value for video. If you commission somebody to create a video, you have an actual value. And then with that actual value, you still need to publish it somewhere in a channel. You have to pay for that publishing, maybe an online billboard or something. And then when you work with us, we create a video, we have our own channels. We're actually, if you look at it, we're a bit cheaper in a sense if you do that the old way.
What was the most successful brand campaigns that you ever did? I mean, I'm asking separately.
Say for us, we did a campaign with Ontario Tourism, which is in our home country in Canada, and it was a year-long campaign. And this campaign consisted of summer adventures and winter adventures. It was all year long, promoting Ontario and different regions in Ontario. But from a content standpoint, it also included, it was video, it was appearance on television shows, it was speaking for them at conferences. It was the whole package of everything. And I think that for the years that we've been doing it, it was the most successful because it was the most integrated and the biggest partnership we've done in the sense of putting things together and talking about what their objectives were and what we wanted to do, and sitting down and having a lot of meetings. That took 6 months to plan. But the impact and the reach that it had is, as Ontario Tourism has said, is one of the best investments they've ever had. So for us, that's a huge compliment in that by putting in the work from both sides and developing a massive campaign like that you can have great success.
And I think having it over the long term, people started following along. And by the time we spoke at the Outdoor Adventure Show, we had an audience come up to us and say, we've been following all year, and I didn't think I'd be able to go and hike the Puckasaw Trail, but I saw you did it, and I'm going to book it next summer because if you can do it, I can do it too. So I think having the long term got people excited, they followed along. And not only that, Ontario Tourism then sent all of the material to their UK office. So then they got the whole next year, they had a whole other campaign with our material.
By repurposing the content.
Repurposing. Yeah. So.
Yeah, for us, we do food and travel, in a sense. So one of our successful campaigns is with the #1 beer company in the Philippines, San Miguel Beer. So we do food pairing campaign throughout the entire year. So, and this was 7 years ago. Every year we have a partnership with them for 7 years now.
So they saw the value and keep using it. Yeah.
Very, very long partnership. Yeah. And I would like to hear, I think might be maybe a couple of last questions, about the trends you see or you follow for 2017 or 2018 or for the rest? Because we know that they're now changing very fast. There are new mediums popping up every day, maybe.
Yes.
And then 10 days later, we found ourselves creating accounts in that mediums.
Yeah.
So how do you see the trends? I mean, which part should we focus on, should we look at in terms of digital marketing, influencer marketing?
I think the trend is, as it has been this year, will continue definitely with live and video content. People want a more internal look into what influencers are doing, and in turn, I think live video is by far one of the most authentic mediums, in the sense that you don't sit down in an editing room and cut a video, or edit your photos before they go up. It's very raw, and I think a lot of people are really into that, in that you can't sort of fake that. In social media, it's very easy to put out a presence that may not be yourself, and you can be somebody else. But I think getting back to the live aspect, you can't be anybody else. You can only be you. And I think that lends itself to even more authenticity. And I think that will be a trend, is that, as the space gets more and more crowded, people look for more and more authentic content.
Yeah, for me, because we have 4 kids, and I started the blog 12 years ago when my first son, Aiden, was born, because I was documenting their history, like where we eat, where we go. And I was thinking, when they're 12 years old or teenager, they would read the blog. And now, my first son, Aiden, is 12 years old. They never read the blog. Never. But when I created a video, we started our video in 2015. They watch it every day. So for us, we're really foreseeing, we're transitioning to 100% video. Essentially, because their generation is 100% video, and when you talk about video, there are three components. One is the live, which Dave mentioned. The second one is the YouTube, the whole YouTube channel. If you don't have a YouTube channel, you have to start now, because it becomes very hard when these young guys, really grow up. And the third one that we're trying to do is 360 and VR kind of videos.
Yeah, I think video is extremely important in the coming years, and I think everyone should get on video. Facebook Live or Facebook videos are huge now. People want us to do an extra cut for Facebook, but I think that the blogs are really important, and they are going to be. We are having people now that are contacting us and saying, we want just the blog posts, and that's something we get from the brands that we work with. They're like, your blog just is the gift that keeps on giving. People say to us, because they do the search. People still do searches to find out what to do in Istanbul, or I'm going on an adventure up north somewhere into the or that's south, but up north in the Arctic, and I need to look up what to do. So I do feel that blogs are something that are coming back. I think that companies are wanting to work with bloggers more because they realize the value. That has longevity, that has search. And if you can give them that trackable link or the discount code, they can find that coming for years to come. And that's honestly what we always get. They're like, you guys just are the gift that keeps on giving. So I think it's important.
And I think it comes back around full circle to being diversified, in the sense that your blog can reach a certain market, and your live videos can reach another market, and your YouTube can as well. So in order to be successful in this business, you have to be able to appeal to different markets all the way across the spectrum.
And that's the trend. Diversify. Diversification.
By the way, I think we are right now online on Facebook as live stream. Yeah,
there we go.
INFLOW Travel page.
All right.
Yeah, we should be online right now on Facebook page. So we are following the trend. It's good. You both started this business like a lot of years ago. I wonder if the choices of your audience has ever changed. I mean, when you compare it to like 6 years ago or 8 years ago, what do they want to consume in terms of content? What do they seek for? What do they want to read or watch in terms of travel?
Yeah, a lot has changed. When we first started, it was very much, Oh, let me go on. You know, it used to be more of a travelogue, a daily diary
Yes,
when
it's
we
a daily
started.
diary.
People would follow along and feel your pain. Now they're looking for great visuals. They really love those videos that are beautiful. They're looking for information, and they're looking for our personalities a lot. That's where the live comes in. They want to see us laugh. They want to see us be stupid. Where before it was us writing just about what we did day to day, now it's a lot more get the personality out there and really show me something gorgeous and give me a lot of information.
For us, we started with the Gen X generation. We're talking to Gen X generation, and the Gen X generation is very particular for status symbols. So you know, you want to achieve this, you travel to this place, you know, and that was a lot. We were blogging about that in that sense. The millennials, though, success for them is not about status symbol. Success for them is success for them is travel. So they just really just want to travel. And second, they like social meaning. You know, when they travel, they need to be able to help, you know, a community or work out there. And of course, they like design. You know, the design needs to be nice. So that's actually what changed. What's exciting me is, you know, like our kids now, we're thinking, what's success for them? You know, because they grew up with all these things, they can travel. So what's success for them? And that actually keeps me going and figuring out the next generation of travelers. You know, how do we communicate to them?
Yeah. Well, we got 6, 5, 4 seconds, so we are just on time. It was a very good conversation with you. Thanks for you for coming to Istanbul and INFLOW Travel Summit. I hope you have a very good and enjoyable day today and also event. So see you around then.
Well,
Thank
thank you very
you
much for
very
having
much.
us.
Thank you so
Thanks,
much.
everyone.
Thanks, man. Thank you very much. That was fantastic.
Fantastic. So good.